I am an immigrant from the Dominican Republic, and in order for my family to come here, we actually got a 90-day tourist visa, but we overshot it by about 30 years. For those of you that don't know the law, that's not a good thing to do. Which means I actually grew up undocumented. Most of my life, from the age of 6 till about 27, I was undocumented. And here's the thing about me. I didn't believe as a kid that I was undocumented because I was still able to receive services in New York City. I was able to go to public school, I was able to get free lunches, I was able to get health care, so I didn't feel like I was undocumented. Initially, the only person who ever reminded me that I was undocumented was my mom. And she reminded me I was undocumented all the time, for any reason. Like, I'd be leaving the house and she'd be like, hey, take a sweater. And I'm like, I don't want a sweater. She's like, oh, you don't want a sweater? Sit down, let me tell you what's gonna happen to you. And then she started with her ghost stories, right? She's like, this is what's gonna happen. You're gonna be outside. It's gonna start getting cold. You're gonna start feeling sick. You're gonna cough, you're gonna faint. And I'm like, that fast? She's like, everything in America works fast, papi. Bronchitis, everything. You're gonna be on the floor. Somebody's gonna come. Somebody be like, ayuda, this kid fainted. They're gonna take you to a hospital. At the hospital, they're gonna ask you for your social security number. And I'm like, you're what? She's like, exactly. You don't know what that is, because you don't have one, then you're gonna get deported. That's how every story went with her. But no matter how much she used this as a tactic, I did not believe her. I thought I was legit a US citizen because I was going to public school and I had my friends. We were talking over our free lunches and I was getting healthcare. Healthcare overall did not make me feel, like having it made me feel like I wasn't undocumented, because I remember the first thing I did when I got to this country was get vaccinated. Oh, that was marvelous. Kids don't like shots, not me. I went in there like, oh, I heard you guys got that polio, hook it up. I'll be hearing what that do to people. I was going in for shots I didn't even need. But again, I didn't believe it, and it wasn't until I aged out. And that's what happens to a lot of us. When we age out, that's when things get real. You know, like my whole life, I felt like the US government was giving me a big hug and was like, I got you. I love you. Don't worry. But then as soon as I turned 18, they pushed me away, cocked their guns, and went, run. And I was like, what just happened? So for the next 10 years, I really was in a survival mode that I'm still recuperating from. You know, for those 10 years, I really lost hope in this country and in myself. Everything that would happen, I would just get even more depressed. Like I remember the first time I broke my tooth, right? The first time I broke a tooth and I couldn't get it fixed. I didn't want to smile anymore. And I know it's just like, you know, just this action, like, look at me. Pretty good, huh? Got it fixed. You can't even tell which one it is. But I didn't want to smile. And the more things broke down, the less I wanted to, like, push forward and the less I believed in this country. You know, I felt like the government, the city, the state that I love abandoned me. And then you mix in the physical with the mental health. That was a thing I did not expect, because a lot of people don't talk about the mental health toll that it takes on you growing up undocumented. Yeah, I know I joked around about my mom. Well, you guys didn't laugh, so I don't know if it was a joke. But anyways, but I talked about my mom scaring me with ICE, and it wasn't really just that. I mean, when you grow up undocumented, you have to lie about everything. From 6 years old, my mom was like, don't tell people where you were born. Don't tell people where you're from. Don't tell them anything that'll give you away. And then that seeped into adulthood, where I didn't want to tell people why I wasn't going to the doctor when I obviously should. I didn't tell people why I wasn't working for a long period of time. I was just afraid of anybody finding out. And then I became such a liar. I actually became like a pathological liar. That at one point I told my friends and family that I was robbed at gunpoint just so they stopped asking me about my status, you know? Just whenever they'd be like, oh, you know, what's going on? I was like, oh, dude, I'm still dealing with the gun situation. I would just make up lies just so they won't ask me the thing. And again, it took 10 years. But finally, when I was 27, I was able to get a temporary status. And I was able to get a job, which I currently am at, so I appreciate them for that. And I was able to get health care and fix my smile, and I started smiling a little more. And then I went to a therapist, and I was able to get the mental help that I needed, and that I wish I could have done 10 years earlier. to know that this wasn't my fault and that this doesn't define me, and how to use these tools and the things I've been through to help out others and teach others. And now that's what I do with my TikTok, my undocumented ads. I tell people about the situations growing up. And I have the luxury that I could talk about this from the other side. But it really scares me for people like my kids. I have 2 sons with autism. What happens to them when they age out? You know, I had the ability, and I had the ability that I was able to, work my way through it and get health insurance and everything through my job. But these aren't the things that we all are capable of. And if I can leave you with anything, is invest in people, and invest in communities, because when you invest in them, they want to invest back. So that's all I'm hoping to come out of here tonight. No matter citizen or non-citizen, I hope that we all get the services we require, because, again, it makes you want to invest in your community more. Thank you.